right, so for friends playing along at home, and I know that was probably really loud for the beginning of the video, but we are talking about 424 before we dive into the new lesson. Also, here's the answers. If you want to be able to go back and check your answers, if you haven't done it yet, or if you have done it right now, you can check your answers, but our recording is going now. However, my pencils that are frantic right now, you are not copying this right now, because if you're going to cheat, you're at least not going to do it while I stare at you. And reminder, we have a mastery on Friday. Nothing from today's lesson is on Friday's mastery. It's a quiz. It's a mini mastery. It's pretty small. But unit rate, right? Graphing unit rate problems. Stuff that has already been on your homework, previous homeworks, or this homework. That is gonna be on that quiz. And yes, of course, it's quarter 3. So if you are just trying to copy things down because you didn't know how to do it, that's a bad decision. Ask how to do it, or go get homework help. There's a whole website dedicated to that. All right, but you had said 63. So this, like -7, is just grouping that it's a negative. But this -10, Jay, you with me? Because now I'm answering your question. Okay, you looked like you were kind of spaced out for a minute, just because you weren't looking at me. And that's, the human thing we normally look at the people that are talking. So, yeah, this is still grouping the negative. But when we look right here, there's nothing between the 3 and the parentheses, which means it's multiplication, right? When a number's right up against parentheses, it's multiplying. In D, there's actually only one term. Because if you need to go back to your Chapter 3 mastery and double check, terms are separated by addition outside the parentheses. So like here separates terms, here separates terms, which is how we end up with 3 terms in A and only 1 in D, because everything is trapped inside of these parentheses. See, I'm not drawing on top of it, I'm drawing beside, but there's parentheses out there, there's parentheses out there. Nothing is outside of parentheses here. So technically speaking, all of D is a single term because it's all trapped inside of parentheses. Other questions from the front. And then the next page is the back. But there's the rest of the questions for the front if you need to go check answers. On the back, we talked about this in class, but if it's just multiplication, it is proportional. If it does anything else, it's not, right? If it's just showing a multiplication times x, that's proportional. If it's showing addition or subtraction or anything else wonky, like C has a couple things going on, not proportional. Scrolling on down the rest of our answers if people need to go check answers. And guys, like half the problems on homework help take you to the answer. So I don't mind showing you the answers. What I mind is if you don't know how to get that answer. Yeah, and then it's just going to catch you when it comes to a mastery. I even made a mistake on my answer key. And then had to change it up here on the smart file when I realized, 210 divided by 4, it's not 55.
Oh, I got that.
It's 52.5. Yeah, mistakes happen. Math is hard. Other questions from that homework? It is due on Friday. I might erase 431 from being due Friday. That's today's homework, but since you don't have class tomorrow and you don't have a chance to ask questions, I think I'm probably just going to erase that off of being due. But yeah, 424 is definitely due. Please get that done if it's not done. So you, without knowing it, have stumbled into Hudson's Algebra Tile Emporium. Yes, I'm doing this lesson different. You actually never had this lesson. What do you need, Maddie?
Do you need spare or extra cardboard that you're not using as of right now?
No, because nobody prepped me that anyone was going to need cardboard.
I didn't need cardboard.
I have a ton at home. If anyone had prepared, and I'm guessing you need this right now.
Right now would be ideal.
To deliver.
Why do you need? You stole that word from me.
That's why I'm using it with you.
So,
Maddie, before you leave,
yes, sir.
what do we call this bitty tile?
Oh, we call that a. Not a one tile.
No, you were right the first time. Trust your gut.
Yeah, one tile.
Now get out of here, because you have a class to get back to. No!
What?
Get out of here. You think you can answer
Wait,
one question and get
raise your hand if
candy?
you think I need a piece of candy.
That doesn't matter. Sorry. So, we're going to start with the itty bitty tile.
See you later.
Did anyone not come up here to get tiles? You're going to pull out the itty bitty square tile. Anyone need these?
I didn't.
Anyone not can get a couple tiles? Anyone still need these? Okay, I just couldn't see past binders. Just stop. That's just always in my head. Stop. You do not have to keep it going. Guys, I already told you I'm just trying to make it through today. If you want to listen to Nintendo music, we can do that, but after the lesson. So, we're going to start writing down information about these tiles because to answer any questions about them, like the first problem on tonight's homework, we need to know what the heck these things are. So let's put a header on our paper that they are algebra tiles. This is what we call algebra tiles. And then, hold up, you need 3 headers. Like, not just this algebra tiles header, but then we're going to make a header for the picture of the algebra tile. And if you want to just write pic, that's fine. But I'm going to write the whole word because not everything needs abbreviated. And then we're going to have its area, which is also its name. The area of these tiles are what we name them. And then we're going to have the perimeter. So if you're just staring at the screen, please catch up because I'm waiting on you. And then we're going to start tracing. They do not have to be perfect tracings, but try to make your square look like a square. Yeah, instead of like a circle or, something. I get it. It's kind of hard to trace. I do 2 sides and then I move my finger and I do the other 2 sides. But I know it's kind of hard.
It's the same size as 4 of the.
Depending on what graph paper you have, though. Depending on what graph paper. And then we can literally write its name inside of it, because that's like a lot of times what we do with these tiles. Like Maddie just told us, we call this the ones tile, because it measures 1 by 1. And area, we know, is always length times width. So if we do 1 times 1, well, what's 1 times 1? Yeah, that was the hardest math problem we've solved all week. Sarcasm. And since it's area, we then call it units squared. Guys, have you ever seen the movie Pixels? So, decent movie, right? Not maybe Adam Sandler's best film, but I mean, I like Happy Gilmore just for what it's worth. But like, if you zoom in far enough on anything on the computer, you can eventually get down to where everything is little bitty squares. And this was really bad for your eyes. But back in the day, with old TVs, you could like get real close and you could start to see where like the different colors were coming into. There was like a tube behind the TV, and everything's just like little bitty squares or dots. Or I know you're gonna pick apart what I just said. Go ahead.
Okay.
You have 30 seconds max.
So,
Don't ruin my lesson, please.
never mind.
I know what I said wasn't quite right. I was just trying. I normally don't have a kid who knows old technology, but
No, you're completely correct. It's just like I raised my hand without like thinking about what I was gonna say.
So all I'm trying to say is you don't have to have a square object for your label to be units squared. That does not mean this is a square. I mean, this is a square. But this means we're talking in area. But we don't know. Is it inches? Is it feet? Is it miles? So that's why we say units squared. What would the perimeter of this tile be? For what? Not squared. Because now it's just how long would it be to walk around the whole thing? 1, 1, 1, and 1. It would be 4 units. Here's your task that I want to just give you a few minutes to work on. I might even just put on some music. You want to work your way through drawing and trying to answer these questions for this tile. I'm not going to tell you the names of them as we put them down. But that one has writing on it.
How dare someone?
I did that, and I'll do it again in your class. This tile. And then you don't have to draw it, but then we're going to talk about the purple and green tiles that you have. So the main things that I need to get on your paper are the dark blues that look like they're similar to each other, right? I mean, they're the same color to begin with, and the light blues. Now, if I flip those over, what did you notice about every tile? The back of it is red. What do you think the red side represents, man?
Negative.
Negative. We're not going to talk we're not going to talk negatives today, but if you want to make a little note on your paper, if red or empty. Guys, you want to write this down, trust me. Then it's negative. If it's red or empty, and what I mean is like on your homework, they know we can't print in color because we don't we don't have the budget. We don't have the money. Printing in color is more expensive. So all of these tiles that we're looking at now, you don't have to shade them in, but all of these tiles that we're looking at today are quote unquote shaded in so that they are positive, right? But if it's red, or like on your homework, if it's empty, then it means negative. So you're going to trace your tile. You're going to try to figure out what is its area, which would also be its name, and what is its perimeter. Remember, area is units squared. Perimeter is just units. So go ahead and dive in. You just are working with you can chat with your partner about like, wait, I think it's this. Do you agree? If you show me that we can't do both, you know which one I will stop. Not measure. Measuring is not going to actually, if you try to measure, you'll probably get annoyed. I actually don't. Yeah, so we're going to trace out, and then we're going to try to write the area and the perimeter. So, like, if you grab a ruler and you try to measure, you're going to get annoyed. And that's on purpose. It is not full. That is a lie. Okay, hold on. I guess before I let you guys write down things that aren't true, we should go ahead and talk about this for a moment. So, I just, kind of obviously called out Monsef of it's not 4. And Rad and I were just talking about how measuring doesn't work. If I try to grab a ruler, it's maybe it's over 4 centimeters actually. It's not, because I need that line to be out there, and really in America we normally use inches, right? But guys, here's the other thing we didn't have the money for. This is not how it appears. That X, anyone ever play with a Stretch Armstrong?
Oh, yeah.
So Stretch Armstrong, just a dude, looks like a dude. You wouldn't know it, but then, what are you able to do? You grab his hand, and you can stretch real big. X, just gave it away. X works the same way. This tile looks like it's this big right now, but it can be stretched. It can be shrunk. So when we do this tile, we're actually going to call it a length of x, but we can say the short end of it is how long? How big is the short end? 1, but this length we're going to call a length of x. So when you go to trace this and write this down, even though it looks like it's like 3 something, or maybe it's 4, that is not true. We're going to say it's x by 1 by x by 1. And I still need to do my 5 tile, but like I'm going to come around and check, make sure no one else is. Oh, I just gave away another thing.
Wait, would it be 2 for this graph paper or what?
What do you mean? You're trying to force it to fit the graph paper, but either way, we called that 1. So all because it's 2 squares, that does not matter. Like it is, we are calling our 1 tile is the basis of everything. That 1 tile, the single 1 tile, is kind of the basis of everything. I know you think you can. It looks like you can, but you can't. This tile that I'm working on right now, what's it kind of look like somebody did? Anyone want to tell me what you visualize? Like, Jay, what's it look like?
It looks like some of the rebels in my car.
Looks-
It's like covered in little in pieces
And what pieces look like they got connected together?
1 tiles.
A bunch of 1 tiles.
So then you can count the by the 1 tiles to get the area of the perimeter.
So what is the area in here? Well, I think I can count.
I just provided.
It's 5 long. It's 1 wide. Still 5 long on the bottom. Still 1 wide here. You're fine, bud. If our area, I know some teachers get like annoyed, but I don't care. If the pencil sucks, though, just switch pencils. Length times width, right? I mean, if it's a rectangle, it's length times width. What's 5 times 1? 5. So this, we'll call it the 5 tile, because it's 5 units squared. Hey, look, it is still little squares. It doesn't have to be, but it is. What about the next tile I've drawn here? Anyone able to help me with that area? I will take a volunteer. Okay, so if I have x and I have 1, what's x times 1? Yeah, x times 1 is just like 1x. So the area here is x units square. Is this a square? I got some people not doing this, and when it comes to your homework, you're going to regret not having this paper to look back at. It's a rectangle! But could I zoom way in and break it up into little bitty squares? Yeah, like we could. So it doesn't have to be a square for us to call it units squared. You've put a lot of effort in. There you go. You're welcome. Ooh, hold up. Let's use random cards. Make sure we're all awake today. Sophie, can you help me with the perimeter of the 5 tile? Yeah, so what'd you get when you counted around? Well, for the perimeter, the outside edge. Yeah, because we got 5 plus 1 plus 5 plus 1. So really, our perimeter here is 12. Our perimeter for our X tile. Rad. The cards have... Ooh, nope. I guess the cards haven't spoken. Van, you able to help me out with our perimeter of our X tile?
Would it be 2 plus x plus x?
Ooh, yes. But I'm going to write that out like a little bit longer and then a little bit shorter. So if we take a walk, we got an x plus a 1 plus an x plus a 1, and we made it all the way around the lap. How many x's did we have, though? I can put those together. And how many 1s? I can put those together. So our perimeter is actually, if we clean it up, 2x plus 2. But Van said it's 2 plus x plus x. Same thing. So what he said was right. I just simplified a bit farther. This next tile, anyone want to talk to me about what you have realized or discovered, Mason?
Since it's the same length as the blue tile, it's like x on all sides.
Ah, if I had these, it's the same length as my X tile, so when I put this on my paper, I'm going to label each edge. This one's finally not terrible to trace because it's big enough. Woohoo!
Too big.
Okay, so if every edge is X, oh, we forgot to label our name of this tile up here, right? The name was the X tile. What would we name this tile? Ooh, somebody said it. I'm glad Soul's back. It'd be X times X, which comes out to be X squared. So the name of this tile is our X squared. Different than X. The X tiles are rectangles. The X squared is a square. What about the perimeter of that tile? Anybody? Clean that up. 4x. Okay. We didn't know what this was. We called it X. But if you guys look at one of your purple tiles, do we know what the purple is? So we've got a couple purple tiles, right? That again, if I try to line up, not really. And I know the purples are like, you know, they share this common length. If we called this blue X, right, if we called that blue X, what might we call this purple? Huh? Well, because I asked you and we're doing math. No, why, right? I mean, you could call it anything, but for us... Now wait, what about the green tile? This edge, I can line up here and see that's X. Anyone have any other observations? Isaac? The length is what did we just say we could call the purple? What did we say we could call the purple? Y. So wait, if this green tile is X by Y, you don't have to put this on your paper, but I'm going to, just because I feel like this is a good little, but this is kind of, I'm going to scooch this so it's not so in the way. Guys, get another piece of paper if you need. So we said this was X, this was Y. So what do you think we would call this tile?
XY.
The XY tile. questions on the little notes we drew, pictures we made. Sorry, like, I know these look empty. If you don't like that, since we wrote down that empty is negative, you could also grab a blue highlighter and just fill them all in, right? Like, you could fill in these tiles. Because we said empties, so if you really want, you could fill it in and show that it's not empty. I guess I can switch to green if I want to indicate it was different. All right, so once you feel comfortable with that, we're about to go shopping. But there are rules to this shopping. You and your table group are trying to do your shopping together. Here's how it's going to work. Put some eyes towards me so I know you're maybe listening. At least more likely than when you're staring at something else. So, your shopping list is for each individual person. So, what I mean... No, I'm going to go here. This is your shopping list. But each of you need to have these in front of you by the time, like, we come back together and we work to solve these problems. So, you can only come up and get one type of tile at a time. Not one tile, but one type. So if I came up just for myself, and by the way, we're going to put the sample back in, like, whatever it was in. So whenever you're done, we're going to put that sample back. I'm going to come around and collect those. So I'm going to keep those separate, just because that gives us one of each, right? I like to keep those separate. So I cannot come shopping and take both of these. They're two different types. I can come shopping and take a handful of these and take but you'd like to be strategic, like when you go to the grocery store, and only buy what you need. So if I'm only shopping for myself, I think I only see 3 of the x squareds up there, and if you need to double check which ones are you grabbing, they're labeled, right? X squared, X. My 1s and 5s are kind of obvious. Callum, stop what you're doing, you're good at from seat. Because if you fall, you will get a concussion from hitting your head off that wall. So, here's the other thing. You can only come up alternating. So listen, Harrison might come up and get their squares. Then he takes them back to the table, and now he has to, like, tag out, and Van comes and shops for the next type of tile. He takes those back, tags out with Harrison, who comes up and shops for the next type of tile. But you can grab as many of the same type as you need, or both of you. Does that make sense? I'm trying to give this a bit of flavor and a bit of movement. I'm going to give you guys a break, okay? Like, whenever we block time, I'm going to give you a break in, like, 5 or 10 minutes. So, like, we're going to do at least a little bit of this activity, and, like, I'm going to give you a break. So don't take this as the opportunity to, like, bail and go to the bathroom. Let's do our tile shopping, and then we'll take a break. Okay, so you can come up, one person from your team at a time. The 1s and 5s are mixed together. Sorry, the 1s and 5s are mixed together. If we run out, let me know. I can restock it, but if we run out, let me know. I need to come around and get your samples. So start sending people up to the shop.
Okay.
Start sending people put those back in the cup.
No.
Unless you want to do all 4, it might be easier to do it.
He's shaking. It's Black Friday.
Yes. You put those back in there for the next problem that we're doing. I mean, like, the 3 of you could be our team if you want, yeah. I'm wondering if there's something stuck in that pencil jar. It seems it hasn't been working.
I'm breaking back in.
I was waiting in line.
All good.
Wait, is that Y again?
Why did you take the money?
Jumped out.
I think those are Y's.
Wait, we need 3 X2s or how many?
3X.
Whoa, only one type at a time. Take those back, sir.
What?
One type at a time. Because otherwise, you're going to get too crowded. You're breaking the rules, too. Only one tile type at a time. Nope. No. Okay, but you still got to... Okay, fine. Whatever. If you don't have a partner, you should have all like made your whole table one big group. Did you get vowels also? Oh, okay. You guys both have your tile. Okay, so now you need your X's, right? Alright, so send someone for X's. Thank you.
Wait, do I give these to everyone? Or just
If you're shopping for your whole group, yeah. So like each of you need that in front of you. Like that pile that's showing on the screen, each of you need that in front of you. So here is the beginning of my group. I need 3 of these square tiles. So would my partner. And if there's more than 2 of us, like, we need even more. Each of you need that group in front of you. Each of you need that group in front of you.
there can be 3 people at that time.
Yeah,
There's space.
I guess there's another of those. I just didn't label it.
So
I guess you could shop from this if you want.
that's like the sale part of the store.
And this is like my Lego bin, which now lives with my brother.
It keeps multiplying every time I go back up. Wait, that was.
Well, if you're talking X squares, the other ones it looks like we need even more per person. Do you need Y's? It doesn't look like we do. You don't.
No.
Yeah, you don't need any Y's. I don't know why you're reaching in there. Those are like a trap. There are no Y's up there. Yeah, you can return things. We have an open return policy.
You can go again. Did you get some? No, you don't get.
Oh, math is hard. And counting is math, you know.
Oh no, 5s are out. 5s have disappeared. 5s are supposed to be in here, but they're gone forever.
Remember, we're not using the red sides. We're sticking to the other color. We're not using the red sides.
Wait, did you get these all together? You can't get.
Sure, it would be more efficient.
Yeah, you can shop here too. These are just separated. Remember, we're not looking at the red side. The red is negative. So if you got red up, flip them. You got red up, flip them. Oh, yes. Your class is twice the size of the morning class. So that was plenty for the morning class. I knew we would run out. This is the first year I sorted the tiles and had you guys come up and shop. But I think it is going to do what I want it to do. Of like helping you know what things are and count things. Alright, so I can tell a lot about what your bedroom might look like by how your desk looks right now. You can think to yourself, because I don't honestly want to know what your bedroom looks like. Your mom or dad might care, though. If you have socks and underwear and pants and shirts and stuff all over your room, mom or dad might say, you need to clean your room. The socks would go with the socks, right? The shirts would go with the shirts. the pants with the pants. You're missing homework assignments, probably in your binder, hopefully, maybe. You only need 3 of the 5s. You only need 3 of the 5s. So, if your desk right now looks like this, yeah, that's what, my garage, my shop probably looks like this. But let's clean up a little bit. Let's put things, now, let's not stack them, because it's harder to count when we stack, but let's sort, right? Let's sort and say, these feel like they should go together. These feel like they should go together. These feel like they should go together. And what you just did without realizing it, you grouped like terms. All like terms means in math. You guys were playing. Please resist the urge to play. I'll give you time to play with the tiles. Promise, I'll give you free time. Like terms. Hey guys. Like terms, notice, does not just mean same color. Does not just mean they have one edge that can meet up. It's got to mean like same color, same shape, same. It's got to be identical, except for we're calling the 5 tiles like they're different. They're not. They're just 5 1 tiles like glued together. So these we're saying are the exact same as these. They're just like glued together to make our life easy. Easier. I said So if we go to write down what we have right now, and I don't know about you, but I need a fresh piece of paper because my other paper got all filled up. How many x squareds did we have? 3, right? Each of us should have 3 x squareds. How many x's did we have? For just you individually. Like how many x's were up here? 6. How many 1s? Remember, we're just counting the 5s as 5 1s. How many 1s?
3, 6.
5, 10, 15, 16, 17, 8. Yeah, guys, those 5s are not actually different. They're just the 1s glued together. And yes, they're not glued. They are literally made together. But, yeah. Please do not try to break them. They are one piece of plastic. If you break them, they will just get thrown away because they end up sharp. So, this would be our area, right? Because that's our name. So, the name of this group, I mean, you already pretty much did, is 3x squared plus 6x plus 18, right? That would be the name of our group. What do you need, Will?
I think I left my binder in there.
Did anyone find Will's binder? Hey, will you do me a favor and tell Elias? Well, you don't have class with Elias next, do you, Tversky? Okay, never mind. I have his math binder. If anyone sees him, he left it in here earlier. I don't know if he meant to leave it or not. All right. So, does that make sense that like when we name a group, we're really naming it based off the areas? Because, guys, if I try to do perimeter here, who so far has thought about like, I could line up all my tiles like this until I get to the 1s tiles, and then they get a little weird. But all my x's could line up like this. But think about it. Would this have the same distance around versus if I did this? And I don't think they would. Right? Like, I'm not going to make you calculate this. But if I line them all up like I had initially, versus I stack all these, and maybe I like squeeze these on the end, or something like that. Like, so we're going to use these, so keep these out, but let's make a slightly smaller group. I didn't clear the ink.
What?
You would have had to have been paying attention for that to matter. So it's probably fortunate that most of you weren't.
I was
Not
very
control,
excited.
shift. Clear ink. Okay. Here's our first group we want to make, because it feels a bit more manageable. Make that on your desk. And then we're going to draw. You don't have to trace. But we are going to draw this in our notes so that we have somewhere to write. So I'm going to, don't worry, don't freak out. Here's our group. But I'm also going to make a drawing of it. I'm not going to trace it, but I'm going to draw it. So now, if you were using your graph paper, you might have a decent idea of how big they actually were. My x squared does not have to be perfect. But I will say this one crap. And this is why we should do math in pencil. I messed up. Hey guys, sorry, I should really not be, especially because I'm going to make a mistake. I forgot this x tile. Don't forget about that x tile. We have x squared and we have x. I should just draw it up on the board, probably. And then what we want to do is talk with our partner to figure out what is the area, what would we name this group.
How much?
Does not have to be a perfect drawing, right? So I know this was my x squared tile, this was my x tile, this was a 1 tile, this was a 1 tile. Now I will tell you here, perimeter is the tough part. Area, all we do is look at, count, and give it the name that is appropriate. So how many x squareds do we have here? 1. So if I start writing out my area, I have 1 x squared. How many x's do I have? 1. Can I, well, they're both x's. Can I put x squared and x together and just say I've got 2x squared? Do I have 2 of the x squared?
No.
Do I have 2 x's?
No.
So even though they're the same color, I cannot put those x squared and x's together. So I have to write it separately. X squared plus x plus what?
2.
2. Careful. There are 2 1s. And now things get tough. Because we're going to talk perimeter and go for a walk. I'm going to start Callum, left or right? Just back. Isaac, top or bottom? Sure. We're going to start up here. So if I start out on a walk and I go this direction, and you should be labeling this on your paper as I go. What's the first countable length that I know? Say it louder, Mom.
1.
This, between here and here, is 1. Right? We said the short edge of our x tile is 1. What's the next length I'm going to encounter? It's anybody. We're just I don't want to call on people because this is brand new and might be a little scary. So what's the next length? X. Right? Because we said the edges of the x. What? No, what? I turn the corner. Okay, hold on. This would be x. But out here, I run into that other tile. What, Monsef? So Monsef is saying, okay, I know that would be x, But if I come back this far, then that really tells me that this length, you don't have to draw the little fancy curly Q thing, but that's x minus 1, because they actually took away one of them with that other tile sitting there. Questions on how Monsef figured out that was x minus 1. It would have been x, but we didn't walk the whole x. We only walked until we hit the 1 tile, and that took away one of the length off x. Questions?
How will we figure out what x is?
We're not. That's not what we're trying to do. But if you needed to, if I told you the perimeter now is 40, then you could figure out what x is. But don't, you're thinking ahead of us. So then, as I go around, how far was that? 3, right? Okay, so 3 around the corner there. Sorry, maybe I shouldn't change color. I like writing it there, but then the 3 that I wrote on the outside, maybe I should just do that in yellow also. So then I'm here now. What's the next length? X. Guys, I don't know why some of us aren't writing this down. This is day 1 of doing this. Unless you somehow know how to do this already, we take notes to build our confidence and have something to look back at. What's this next length as I get to the corner? 1. And if you're not thinking, if you're just waiting and copying, you're not exercising your brain. It's like watching somebody else run. You are not getting the workout. Anyone have an idea of what to do with the... I turn the corner and now I'm like, oh, come on. Not only is there a weird 1 tile, but it's in the middle?
And there are 4.
Mason?
I'm just gonna say, like, either it's like 2x minus 1, or it's just like a singular x minus 1.
Well, so how far would this be?
X.
X, but the fact that I'm missing from here to here, what am I missing?
1.
What? So, hold on. You got to make sure you draw this in a way that makes sense on your like, this and this together. That and that together would be x minus 1. No. Well, we don't have to, because if I say I counted both of those, I'm pretty much back to my starting point. I just need to pick up this little dimple. So how much farther did I walk with this little extra? Another +3. And now I got all of my edges. Guys, we're taking a break as soon as we get done with this. Like, I'm going to make all of you leave my classroom, and we're going to check lost and found again. All right. So, obviously, area was way faster, way easier. I'm telling you guys, perimeter is where things get tricky. Can I take 1 away from a number I don't know? No. Because if I don't know the number to take 1 away from, how do I know what I get after I take the 1 away? I can't.
It's like taking 1 away from 0 apples.
So this, we can't do. So don't even try. Instead, we now say, okay, let's just count these separately. How many x's do we have? And then we'll deal with all the 1s. So for our perimeter, how many x's? Forget about the -1s attached to them. We'll deal with those in a minute. How many x's? 4x. I just want to make sure we respect our classmates. Are you still contagious? So now with our 1s, I'm going to circle as I get them. Okay, 1 plus 3. I'm going to do all my positives first. 1 plus 3 more. Anybody? 4. 5. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right?
3.
plus 3 more 5 plus 3 is 8. See, so now, I think that's all the positives. So now, I'm at 8, minus 1, 7, minus another one, 6. I think that's everything. And there's our perimeter. We are all going to stand up, leave the classroom to go get a drink or bathroom or just take a little walk. But we're going to walk past the lost and found. Everything on the coat hooks is also lost and found. Like everything out here, even the coat hooks. If you're back early, you can just work on homework if you want. Where did I drop the other one? Where did I drop it? What in the world just happened?
Have you heard of Banksy?
Banksy? What in the world is going on?
I bet you $1 million you have at least seen one of his artworks.
Oh, I know who you're talking about, but now I'm distracted by like what happened and why are my images not showing up? I'm just gonna try to leave without saving. See what happens. Yeah, did you see the piece of art of his that as soon as they banged the gavel at the auction, it shredded itself?
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
I found a way to prove you wrong.
About the TV thing?
Yeah.
I knew I misspoke a lot. I was just trying to like relate it to like try to simplify down like, all right, well if you zoomed in far enough, you'd see pictures. Any picture really is just like a bunch of dots, whether the dots are squares or circles, or it gets a little, yeah, depending on the screen, and
Yeah, like
it's a whole
there's-
thing.
Of course, there's like the red, blue, and green. little,
Yeah, RGB.
Whatever they're called. I don't think they're called like tripixels because that would mean 3 picture element. So, and that just doesn't sound right.
yeah.
Also, the pixels in the movie pixels are actually voxels.
I know, they're cubes in the... But if we go back to the video games that movie was talking about, none of those games were really three-dimensional.
Yeah.
They were all 2D games.
Yeah.
So they just, I mean, they brought it into the 21st century of like, if kids are going to watch this, we need three-dimensional. And how fun would it have been to chase a 2D Pac-Man? Less fun than chasing the 3D Pac-Man.
It would look very out of place.
Yes.
Like,
Especially in like the streets of New York or wherever they were. Yes.
How do people lose their pants in the lost?
All right. I've asked these questions multiple times, and this is why I keep making you guys look at them. Now that I've made every single one of my classes look at the lost and found, I will not feel bad when I box it up and take it to Goodwill.
Can we take something if we want it at the end?
So let me pose you this question. Since you know our plan with it is to box it up and take it to Goodwill, who do you think needs it more? The people that shop at Goodwill or you just because you want it? And that's up for you to decide.
Goodwill's expensive.
Like, yes, but the point of it is for like people who can't afford to like go to the mall or go to Express or H&M, right? Like the point of it is to be cheaper than those other options. But also one of the reasons Goodwill might be like more expensive is if they don't have enough stuff, they got to raise their prices because that's how you slow down people buying. All right, I think most of us are back here. Thank you for respecting the timeline. Once I pause, okay, I'm probably gonna break my video recording as soon as I try to like pause that because it doesn't always work right. Let's do one more, then I'll show you the funny video, and then it's just homework time. Like just one more to make sure that we understand this practice. So build this on your table if you want. Either way, we're gonna sketch a drawing, right? Build this on your table if you want. Either way, let's sketch a drawing. I don't know. I saw a couple of people grab X squared tiles. I don't know that we need any X squareds here. I think it's just X's and 1's. I think it's just X's and 1's. That didn't look good, right? And a 1, and a 1, and a 1. I'm going to start here awkwardly and go this way. Remember, your drawing does not have to be perfect. You can make it as nice as you want, but like all we need is a relative sketch. How long is this top edge?
1.
A 1, right? The ends of those tiles are 1s.
Wait, did we do the area?
I mean, what's the area here? What's the area?
X.
3x plus 3, right? Like, we're going to put less emphasis on area because we know you can just look at it and count it. We're going to put more time on perimeter because that's what needs our practice. All right, so I go 1, I turn the corner, and I head down. How far is that? X. Stop me if you have any questions. We turn the corner, and the first length we hit, another 1. Next length we hit, an X. Next. Next. Around the corner. Uh-oh.
Problem City.
Hold on. Think, especially if you didn't hear Monsef, think for a moment. This length right here. Think to yourself, how far would this have been? X. We just said that out here. How many did we get pushed back? This length right here, the yellow length, will be what?
X minus 2.
X minus 2. Now what about right here, around this corner? 2. I'm going to skip over this little section. What about this in the middle? 3. What about this over here? 2. Ooh, we already found this on the other side. All right, and that leaves us with, I did not do this or this yet. So quit trying to give it numbers if it's part of X, because we don't know what X is. Remember, X looks as big as it is, but that's not true. Like, X can get bigger, X can get smaller. The 1s cannot change, but the X's can.
Is it X? Poi X?
look up here real quick. And then Izzy, I'm going to call on you because you're smiling like you know it. How far would this be? Now stick with me. Don't shout it out, but stick with me. But then I get rid of that much. How much did I get rid of? Think in your head. And I get rid of this much. And I get rid of this much. Say it louder. So together, those two sections, like we're not going to separate them because that would be way more difficult. These two sections together are x minus 3. Because we would have had x, but we erased one, erased another one, and erased another one. So now in total, let's just do the x's first. How many x's? Yeah, I think 6, right? 1, 2, 3 out here. 1, 2, 3 in there. 3x. Now let's do the ones, because I would always start with just the positives. You might do it differently, but I'm going to start with just the positives, then deal with the negatives. Yeah, I got 11 for the positives too. Did anyone get anything not 11 for the positives? Ooh, but then the minuses, right? I got a -2, a -3, a -2. I think those are my only minuses. Wait, seven. Yeah, you said 8. You tricked me. Monsters messing with me. He's seeing if I'm paying attention. Yes, only because I believe him. I shouldn't pick on Monset. He just moved too fast. But yeah, see me after class. Don't make a big deal of it right now. So 3x plus 4, right? Yeah? I think.
It's not that different from the original.
But remember, area and perimeter are two totally different things. Area, we're talking unit squared, like paint on the wall. Perimeter, we're talking like string to tie this to that. Like. Now, for as difficult as you think math is, especially as I've thrown you these algebra tiles, and you're like, okay, still, why are we using X when we don't know what it is? For as difficult as you think math is, I still think English is even more difficult.